I think one of my new favorite hobbies, as we approach the end of My Hero Academia, is going to be the continuous loser energy from the people who tried to convince everyone that the manga sucked. Because now that they're no longer the vocal, and I mean the vocal minority, and now the vocal majority is saying, oh, this shit's pretty good. They're getting increasingly more petty, like, oh my god, I just I can't wait till this happens. Everyone's gonna hate. No, it won't. And you guys will continue to cry and cry and cry because you know what? My Hero Academia fans stay winning. My Hero Academia haters stay losing. He's paving the road. Horikoshi, you're a clever son of a bitch. You know what? I could honestly watch an entire spin-off of how superheroes do mundane jobs. You take your flamboyant laser and you march with whatever direction you want your life to take in, bro. When it started, he used to bully this kid so hard, and now he's actually feeling just incredibly shit for him, right? Like, he's out here worrying that, well, what about my arm? How can I get it back to normal? And now he has to realize that his best friend, because that's really what Deku is at this point, is Quirkless. And then Deku's like, who the fuck cares? How manga readers act like they felt betrayed. That it's like, he said he was going to be the greatest hero in the world in the very first chapter and shit. And now, but he is. He literally saved the world to such a degree, even All Might's never done that. And he did it with the help of everyone because that's what being a hero is all about. It's not a singular person. I really feel like a lot of people misunderstood how this show operates in terms of a logical level. The weird thing to me is the number of people who act like Endeavor like gets off easy and shit. Like, Endeavor literally loses everything, and the stuff that he has left heavily criticizes him. People don't want to see characterization. They just want to see their own personal beliefs replicated on screen. Hey, you, if you got this far in the video, make sure you drop a like on it, show your support, subscribe if you're new around your Patreon so you can catch my full live reactions to all these episodes and more. But let's jump into it, because we gotta highlight just how dumb the so-called fans, who were clearly just haters, were about the ending of this series. Now, one of the things that has always been very interesting to me, and one of the few things I've always heard about the ending, because for the most part, I've actually avoided pretty much every spoiler for My Hero Academia. But one thing I always heard was that Deku didn't live up to the promise at the start of the show. Because at the beginning of the show, this is the story of how I became the #1 hero. You know how when I say media literacy is dying? Case in point. How in the fuck does anyone watch the ending of even before this episode and see Deku stop the #1 threat, and not because of just solely himself, but with the support of everyone, because being a hero is more than just being the best by yourself. That's the whole point of the fucking story. But it's also about using the teamwork of everyone around you to be able to get that W. Because it's not just Deku's W, it's everyone's W. But who delivered the final fucking punch? Who saved Shigaraki's soul in the end? Sure, he died, but he still saved it. That's my boy Deku. And having Bakugo of all characters represent the, oh my god, he really is a true hero, and I feel like a piece of shit because I kind of deserve it. My boy literally thought to himself, when this was all said and done, they were just going to go heroing. They would always be rivals, they'd always compete to have that #1 hero spot, and they would have a very healthy rivalry. And to see him start, or to see him end where he started, right? Because he used to bully this kid for being a quirkless loser. And it was always just him taking out his own insecurities on a defenseless kid. And that defenseless kid became the #1 hero and could still have a grin on his face saying, you know what? I'm okay with that. Are you seriously telling me one of the criticisms that I've heard so much, that Horikoshi, god damn it, he failed to let Deku become the #1 hero. Horikoshi covered his ass more than he needed to. We did not need this scene for me to appreciate the fact that Deku lived up to his promise in episode 1. This is the story of how I became the #1 hero. He fucking did. How anyone could look at this and not see the beautiful symbolism of, it's baffling behavior, man. It truly is. But what's great is we also get the resolution of the Endeavor storyline. And boy golly, this has been one of the top 3 best stories in the entire fucking show, and they nailed this. And, you know, we're not going to get too heavy into it. I've talked about it at length, but, you know, there's definitely this projection. I wouldn't forgive someone like Endeavor. Like, this is what's crazy. I have always defended the story of Endeavor, and people act like, oh, I've literally had people say, oh, you just forgive an abuser. No, I wouldn't. If I was put in their family, I would not forgive Endeavor. I wouldn't have Endeavor in my life. I'd probably show up to his funeral. I'd probably show up to a hospital visit, but I would not forgive him. Personally, I would not. However, I also would understand family members who might or want to try. And I think that's what's so great about this story is that this is a flawed individual, someone who messed up, who was abusive physically and verbally. And it is up to individual people who have experienced that abuse to decide if they want to give him another shot. To have the whole Dabby thing, they approached this making me think he was dead or going to die that scene. Now I honestly wonder if he'll have a second chance at life. I don't know, but either way, that's just fucking touching. But I mean, you have one saying, "You're not coming to my wedding." Like, come on now. You think Endeavor's not getting punished? Endeavor can no longer be a hero. He lost his arm. Apparently, he can no longer walk. He probably can't even wipe his own ass without help. A couple of his kids still have love for him, but still criticize him. And his wife, is never going to trust him the same thing. But it is up to a family to determine what they do. It's not like this isn't a family that needs to be saved that's currently being beat up by this abusive piece of shit, Like, at the end of the day, I think Endeavor suffered as much as he probably needed to. He lost his heroing. He, sacrificed everything to try to regain what was most important that he took for granted, which was his family. And it's up to the family's individual personalities to decide if they want to keep him in his life. That's a beautifully touching story to end the whole, Todoroki family line. I mean, it's very easy to talk about stuff at a surface level way, like, oh man, abusive husband and father, and now family stays with him. And that's what, honestly, haters like to do with this stuff. And I get it too with trauma like this, especially if it overlaps with stuff you've experienced yourself. It can be triggering, and I'm not saying that's wrong, but it is important to take a step back that your own personal feelings towards subject matter like this does not represent everyone's feelings towards this. And as I said at the beginning, if I was in this situation, I wouldn't have forgiven him. He wouldn't be coming to my wedding. But I understand why someone would. It's all individual, right? And I think the important thing was for Horikoshi to make the individual characters' reactions towards Endeavor make logical sense for their personal beliefs, and he did that. So once again, not bad writing, you just have a different opinion of how you would deal with this scene, which is fine, but you can't force your beliefs onto the masses. You see my point here? Media literacy may be dying, but at the end of the day, Horikoshi stays winning, and, every single week, it is glorious to see people say, oh yeah, but just wait till next week. The anime watchers will hate it just like us manga readers. No, you guys were always the vocal minority, and anime watchers aren't just so terminally online, they think their way or the highway is the only way of doing things, and you love to fucking see it. You let me know your thoughts down below. Be sure to drop a like, show your support, subscribe if you're new around your Patreons where you can catch my full live reactions, all some more like I also like to give video shoutouts to my wonderful patrons who make this all possible. Alright, so today we got Ryuki, Kevin, Rerun, Eds, Lunar, Ben Lu, DJ Samuel, Taco Tuesday, and we also have X Nico, so I appreciate the support. Please take care. Have a good one.